So earlier today was the Xfinity All Drivers meeting after Martinsville. If NASCAR invited you to speak in that meeting, what would you have said?
This is racing in a racetrack, and there's another R word with respect that needs to be utilized out there on the racetrack, and we're not a clown show. Don't screw it up.
And do people listen to you, younger drivers? Do you talk to them? Do you say, hey buddy, if you have a question for me, come find me, and do they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my phone number is pretty accessible, but you don't ever really get very many phone calls from the younger guys.
Yeah. Did you ever reach out when you were younger, or did you learn from the veterans?
Yeah, I mean, I had great teammates at Hendrick when being able to rely on Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, so I was able to utilize those guys, and then also Tony Stewart. You know, he was kind of one that him and I got into it a couple times, not terribly, but just, you know, little scuffs here or there, and then we sat down and hashed it out, and felt pretty good after that.
Tracking off the racetrack, how do you set an example for those younger kids that are struggling to find themselves in Xfinity trucks?
I think you set the example of how you carry yourself on the racetrack, you know. I don't know that besides well, there's been a few. Let's go with that. The Dale Jr. incident, well, that was an accident, but that happened. The Brad incident that him and I had after he wrecked me a couple times, finally I took it back out on him at Kansas, I think it was. So, you know, there's times in doing that, but it's just that's not how you race every single week and running over all of your competitors all the time. I mean, I looked at the Xfinity race like these guys are all talking about, lap 80, and everybody's car is crumpled and crunched and everything else. Like, they need to go back and remember the days, or at least figure out watching the guys that used to race with steel bodies and how that would affect your day.
Or you take even Tommy Baldwin told me, he tells his son, don't race like that. Like, I would let him race like that. You're raising your son. Is that what it's going to take? Is some of the drivers come in that are raised by guys like you or Kevin Harvick who teach them?
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly I think the adage that a lot of dads have is, you know, when these kids start racing, it's wide open, throttle wide open, do what you got to do to win, drive in the corner, shortcut the corner, slam that other kid, knock him out of the way, beat him, you know. And so that's just how they grow up learning from 5, 6, 7 years old. And so once you get into the classes now that Brexton's getting in, which is like 9, 10, 12 years old, that's when you have to lift off the throttle, use the brake, and try not to run over those guys that you're around and racing around, and have some car control and some respect of your space and others' space. And I think that, yeah, you know, myself, Kevin, you know, have a higher regard to that stuff. And honestly, there's times where I look at Brexton and he's racing and I'm like, man, you could have thrown it in there, you know? And he's like, Dad, if I spin the guy out, I got to go to the back. And so he's already, like, you know, pulling himself back more than I'd actually like him to. We don't watch it, so we didn't see it.
Is that a thing where, like, you would ever show that to him and be like, here's what you don't do, or he just knows that over already?
I don't feel like I've had to go down that path with him yet, you know? Like, I've actually, in the last 2 years of racing the micros, and I didn't race Bandoleros, but of all the things that we've raced, I've put more parts on my cars than he has on his, you know what I mean? So he's done a really good job, so I don't feel like that's a path I got to go down right now.